Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Ash.
And this is F1 Fanatics. So guys, we are here to start off a new series today, and that is called Driving Rivalries. And so what we will do in this series is we will have a mix of kind of new driver rivalries and also classic driver rivalries. And so to launch this series, we're having a video come out to you today, which is Thursday, and we'll also have a classics rivalry coming out to you on Saturday. You'll have to wait and see what that one is. But guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, click that bell notification, keep up to date with all our latest content. But first, we should probably get into telling you who today's driver rivalry is, if you haven't guessed by the tops.
Yes, so today we are comparing Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc. The one thing I will say is this comparison is going to be on the 2019 season. So yes, Sebastian Vettel is a four-time world champion, but that isn't being taken into account when we're doing this video.
No, we thought this is the only fair comparison we can give of them, and it is often a term coined, isn't it? You are only as good as your last race.
Yes.
Right, so guys, what we are going to start off with is the stats, which means we're going to take a little shuffle to the side here, get nice and cozy here. And up there is going to pop the stat file of Charles Leclerc. Ashley, would you like to run us through those stats?
Okay, so Charles Leclerc this season, he has got, most importantly, 2 race wins. So that is most recently in Monza, and then obviously his first race win in Spa. He has got 7 podiums. He's got 4 pole positions. Look at this, I'm remembering numbers, it's incredible.
It is a miracle here.
Next one, I'm going to have to remember the order, is fastest laps, which he's got 2 of.
He has indeed.
He has got 182 points in the Drivers' Championship, and he's sitting 4th in the championship.
And guys, moving on to Sebastian Vettel in his stat comparison. So compared to Charles Leclerc's 2 race wins, Vettel has a big fat 0, obviously finishing 1st in Canada, but that was stripped away from him with the 5-second penalty that he received. In comparison to Charles Leclerc's 7 podiums, he has 6, so 1 behind on that aspect there, and he only has 1 to Leclerc's 4 pole positions. You can see where this one is going, Ash, can't you?
I think so.
And then you've got 2 fastest laps, so that's a match. That's equal. Points is 169, and he is 5th currently in the driver's standings. He was actually above a Charles Leclerc up until that last race victory that Leclerc got at Monza last time out. So in those stats, Charles Leclerc is in the lead. But yes. We can shuffle back into the middle now. We got our Leclerc versus Vettel back up in the head-to-heads. Now, what do you reckon qualifying is, Ash?
Well, considering Charles Leclerc has out-qualified Sebastian Vettel in every race since Canada, I'm going to say that Leclerc is winning that one quite comfortably.
You would be correct in that aspect, because it is 8-6 in Charles Leclerc's favour. And do you also think that Charles Leclerc is winning in the race stakes, Ash?
I'm going to say no, but only because you told me before the video, because I thought he was edging it.
Now you think, obviously with Charles Leclerc and how well he is doing in this kind of second half of the season, Vettel did actually surprisingly have quite a strong start, and obviously within that, Charles Leclerc has 2 DNFs, which is probably the difference. If you take the DNFs out of the equation, it would be 6 apiece, but Vettel actually does lead 8-6 in that regard. So those are the stats, and it's pretty much looking in Charles Leclerc's favour and so far, wouldn't you agree, Ash?
I'd say so, especially as now a lot of the media and YouTubers like us have been saying that Charles Leclerc is actually now the lead driver at Ferrari. I just think in terms of the aura that he gives off, he seems to be the one that is more confident within the setting at Ferrari this season.
which leads us on nicely onto the next point of who we think gets the best out of that Ferrari car. And I think we are in resounding agreement, but we will give our points accordingly. So yeah, Charles Leclerc for me is getting the most out of that Ferrari car. He has adapted so much better to it, and when the Ferrari, and haven't been many tracks that have suited that Ferrari, but when the tracks have suited that Ferrari, Charles Leclerc generally tends to put in the better performances. And yet he's only lost out in places like Azerbaijan when he wasn't able to qualify, probably all he got enough to get through, didn't he, in the time, and ended up getting into the wall because he had that early season pressure of wanting to prove himself as the number one. But he seems a lot more relaxed now that he does have that race win monkey off his back. Sebastian Vettel, we spoke about it in our race review podcast. Ferrari don't build cars to suit drivers, but Sebastian Vettel still hasn't adapted as well as what Charles Leclerc is, and being the four-time world champion, you would expect him to do it. But I just look at it, and I look at Sebastian Vettel. Ferraris have never been known to kind of create very downforcey cars that kind of glue to the track, and that is what suits his style and gets the best performance. So it really, looking back, reflecting now, it was never really a partnership made in heaven, and it's even come more to fruition this season with how well Charles Leclerc has adapted.
And just adding to that, when you look at the way the Ferraris performed this season, there's been 5 races where you would say the Ferraris had either an advantage or has looked the stronger car, and that being Bahrain, Azerbaijan, Canada, and then Monza and Spa. And in that, the only one where you can say that Sebastian Vettel had the beating of Charles Leclerc was Canada. And as we all know, he made the mistake in that race. So when you're looking at it, when the car is in a position where it is able to compete at the top, it has been Charles Leclerc who is actually putting that fight to the Mercedes and to the Red Bulls, especially in Austria, where, in all honesty, I don't think anyone was really expecting the Ferrari to be as close at the front as they were. They were one that were expected to drop back slightly when it came to race performance. So he is getting the best out of the car when the opportunities are there, and something we will discuss later on. Mistake-wise, they are few and far between, so it is an awkward one, I'd say.
Yeah, and so that leads us nicely onto our next comparison between the two, which is mistakes. And Sebastian Vettel, in now longer than the last 12 months, with obviously the Monza mistake coming as well, he has just had an absolute mistake-ridden, 13, 14 months since that Hockenheim crash. But yeah, not, like I said before, not suiting the car, and it really shows. And I was talking to my friend James about this, and the Ferrari never looks kind of quite stable in those kind of wheel-to-wheel battles, and it's been epitomised by Sebastian Vettel. Whenever he gets side by side with fellow cars, it always seems to kind of lose its end and get a little bit twitchy. So yeah,
it's that rear end, it never seems stable, does it?
No. And it just doesn't give Vettel the confidence, and he has no confidence in the car and driving within that car, and I think that is partially the reason why he's been so mistake driven. But Leclerc, for you, Ash?
Mistake wise, it's been, when he's made mistakes, they've been blown out of proportion, but when you then actually look into them, it's not actually as bad as you'd think. So in Azerbaijan, yes, in qualifying he did hit the wall, but you'd already had Robert Kubica going into the wall at exactly the same point, and there was the mistake from Ferrari in terms of the tyre choice that they gave him there. In Monaco, had a bad qualifying because of the team, not himself, not getting him out for his second run, and then in the race, it was one of those, it's a home race for him, So he wanted a good performance, and it's similar to the Vettel incident at Hockenheim last year. When you're at your home race, you want to perform better. So he was racing harder than he needed to. And then if you look at Germany, he was one of many to go off. So it's not, well, you can't look at that and turn around and say it was a complete mistake on his behalf there. It was put onto the wrong tyres, strategy call there was wrong, but so many drivers made that strategy call, and so many drivers actually ended up having incidents in the same spot. So
it was just a flip of the coin whether you made it out or not.
Exactly. So when you look at the 3 mistakes he's made, there are defences for them, and you shouldn't really be defending mistakes because, as we've said a number of times, it's the pinnacle of motorsport. But there are acceptable excuses almost that you can find for those.
Yeah, and so if you haven't got the theme of who we may think is the better driver, especially in 2019, here is our roundup and conclusion. So for me, it is Charles Leclerc. He has gone into, in his only 2nd season in Formula 1, to the team with massive pressure of Ferrari, and his teammate is a 4-time world champion and the clear number 1 in the car. And he has not only had to overcome team orders and overcome clear decision making in the races that have hindered his race and benefited Sebastian, and he has still got more podiums, more race wins, less mistakes overall, and he just has got stronger and stronger. And from Austria onwards, he has been absolutely incredible in that Ferrari car. Hungary, he struggled with the tyres, which is where probably the only race in that period you could say that Vettel had the edge on him, but his tyre management in Spa was absolutely fantastic, and to battle the Mercedes single-handedly at Monza and claim that victory in the dominance that he got that victory was really kind of amazing to watch. And he now really looks, like we talk about Max Verstappen, he looks a world champion in the making, and it looks like a when rather than if.
And I would agree, on 2019's performances, you would have to say that Leclerc has been the better driver. And the 2 races that showed that the most have to be the last 2 in Spa and Monza. They were the tracks that, coming into them, you were saying Ferrari were going to do well. And not only has he outdriven Sebastian Vettel has not had amazing performances. In Spa, didn't manage his tyres well enough and ended up having to make a 2nd stop, which meant that he dropped behind both Mercedes, and then the mistake at Monza that effectively ruined his race weekend. Charles Leclerc has just grown into the seat even more as the season has progressed, and it's as you say, it is a matter of when he wins a world title, and he will at some point get one because he is building that confidence in a car. And when you look at it, there have not been many drivers that every fan likes or every pundit is liking. He's just got that likeable character to him, and he's going to go far based on that and his ability as well. So he is edging it at the moment, but we've still got a few races left of the season and things can change.
They can indeed, and so obviously that was us both kind of a resounding yes to Leclerc being better. And for me, I think it isn't kind of being a knee-jerk reaction. I think it is something that has happened. The partnership between Vettel and Ferrari was a romantic one for him. His hero was Michael Schumacher. He wanted to emulate being a German in a Ferrari car again and kind of bringing that world championship to Ferrari, which has obviously been a massive gap now between when Kimi Raikkonen won in 2007. But The car doesn't suit him. The way the team run doesn't suit Sebastian Vettel. He's never been kind of totally embraced by the Tifosi, how I would say previous kind of number ones have been embraced. And Charles Leclerc, I think, has now been the new golden boy. And I don't think it's an environment that Seb still has a lot to offer F1, but not with Ferrari. I think it will be a move, and I think the best move would be Red Bull. But yes. But guys, that rounds us up there. So let us know, do you agree with us? Do you think the new boy Charles Leclerc is the new number one at Ferrari and is who they will invest all their efforts in? Or do you disagree, and why? How would you kind of say what is in Vettel's favour? Guys, give us a thumbs up, and Ash?
Make sure to press the subscribe button so you're able to get our videos going into your YouTube inbox, and if you press the bell icon you'll get a notification when a video goes live, and you'll be able to see who we are discussing for this weekend.
And like I said guys, get involved in the comments below. We love having chats with you guys there and discussing points, because that's what we all do. We love talking about F1, and if you've got any excuse for it, why not? But guys, you F1 fans, keep racing.